Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today's review is going to be an in-depth look at mice and rat traps. This is my go-to trap that I use all the time for outdoor purposes only, but I'm going to go into what type of trap is specifically, well, I would say best suited for indoors, outdoors, mice, or rats. Okay, now we take a look at this trap. This is a combination trap, good for mice and rats, and a lot of people don't know that this trap is fully adjustable. And if you read the comments where I bought this on Amazon, you'll see a lot of people say it's not suited for mice at all because it's actually too big, and well, the mice are too light and it doesn't, set off the spring trap mechanism. I'm going to show you exactly how these are adjustable. A lot of people don't know that they're adjustable. So let's just first of all discuss mice and rats. So I've learned a lot from my friends on YouTube over a long period of time that every time around this time of year, well, now is the best time to actually put your traps out and get the population level down so next year you're not inundated with rats and mice, right? So, looking at the comments from years back, I didn't realize that, well, first of all, we'll talk about mice. Mice are about this long, not including the tail, and they're universal around, the world, all about like this, right? While rats are definitely not. So in my area, the biggest rat you're going to find without the tail is about the length of this trap. Now, buddy of mine down from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, says the rat's down there about the size of a possum. And, well, I've never seen a rat that big. And then we go over to another buddy of mine in New York City, the Bronx. He said the rats in the sewers there and in the subway tunnels are about the size of a raccoon. So, I'm thinking, wow, like there's some big rats. I've never seen a rat like that before. And then we go down to McKinney, Texas. I got a buddy down in McKinney, Texas. Well, I just tell you what, if you want to trap rats in McKinney, Texas, you're going to need a bear trap, not one of these. So if you got rats that are about the size of this, well, this trap is going to be excellent. But for the rest of the places around the world, you're going to have to match your trap to the type of rat that you have. So let's go over to the bench here and let's talk about some things, and I'm going to show you something new. Okay, let's start off with my new traps here. So these are the new ones. There's 4 in here, and the other 4, well, they're right here. So I got 8 for $15 plus tax. And I don't put links down below because frankly, like, I bought these off Amazon, but you know what? These links disappear. They come and they go. Different styles, different prices. So you got to shop around yourself. But all I can tell you is that this particular trap here is pretty much the same as this one. They kind of look different. If you take a look on the other side there, you can see they kind of look different, but they're virtually the same style of trap, and these ones are fully adjustable. And behind here I got my staple gun, and I've got my new addition. This is a new box that I made for the rat traps or the mouse traps, and you pretty much have to put these in a box. Don't leave them outside out in the open like this. You're pretty much, to be successful, you're going to have to put them in a box like this. Very simple to make, and I'm going to make another one here later on today. This is just a fence board, pressure treated fence board. You don't need anything fancy. Now, I always put a brick on top, and these two, the Victor, are strictly rat traps. You cannot catch mice with these. They're strictly for rats, and I don't use these anymore. Now these ones here, by far the best indoor trap that you can possibly buy. And there's a little bit of a problem here with a lot of people because, I'll demonstrate to you, but a lot of people don't like these traps for a specific reason. Now these ones here, if you're looking for them on Amazon or anywhere else, they're, I believe, 7 mil by 14 mil, or just under 6 inches by 3 inches. Now, they have one specifically just for mice, about half the size. So if you're looking for like this particular one, it'll say 2.91 inches in width. Well, that's for the mice and the rat ones, but they got some that are just strictly for mice, and they're just under 2 inches. I've never tried them, so I don't know. But these ones here I've had great success with. And so let's start off with why this is the best one indoors. But I would really like to see somebody try these ones in the smaller version. And I'm going to show you exactly why. A lot of people don't like using these anymore. I still like them because I'm not really queasy about mice. But you cannot catch a rat with this, only a mouse. So let's start off with this one right here. Okay, so this style right here is about the least expensive trap that you can get. It's a wooden one. It's all stapled on. And I get a 4-pack for $5. So they're very economical and they work great. So all you do is you put your bait in here, which would be like you can put a little piece of cheese. I prefer just a dab of peanut butter in here. So to set the trap, you bring it back like this. You got this little bit of a guide wire here. And the guide wire fits right on this little spot right here. Right? And your bait is right here. So when the mouse comes to get the bait, well, it'll pull down on it and it will release the trap. As it comes up, it's very effective and it will get the mouse. But now I want you to think about this. This is where the mouse is, where my finger is. And it's in the trap like that. So a lot of people don't like this style of trap because you got to actually pull this up and get rid of the mouse, right? So that's a little bit of a problem. But I will tell you something. On the new style traps, like this one here, well, when the mouse is caught on the outside edge here with these serrated tips there, well, all you have to do is just open it up like this and the mouse falls out. And that's why I like that style of trap. So if we take a look at the Victor trap, the big one here, well, I'll tell you something. This is a monster. And the good idea of this as well is when the rat is caught in here, this bar here pulling it down just gets rid of it, something similar as the other one. If we take a look at this one, it's pretty much the same as the other one. You know, they try to put different styles. This one doesn't have a mouse on the front of it or anything. And, you know, it's pretty much the same thing. You know, and I'm going to show you how they all work. But generally, this has got a little bit of a bait tray in the here. And you can see there's a little pin in there. Well, I tell you what, for rats, what I found works best depending on where you live in your area as well, and it varies from, you know, from different areas. But fruit in the wintertime or a piece of hot dog in the summertime, they seem to like that the best. Where mice, they will pretty much go for anything, like some peanut butter, bacon grease, and I always like to put a peanut on top for mice. But and I have caught rats going after this as well. But when you think about it, do you want to have so many different traps around? I don't want to have different traps. I want to get one that can catch a rat or a mouse at the same time. Sometimes a rat will go after the peanut butter and the peanut. Sometimes it won't, so you can vary it up, you know, have different traps. And I got, you know, like I'm going to have like 5 out now for the rest of the season coming forward, you know, into next spring. And I find this style to be the best. So now I'm going to show you how this style of trap, which is exactly the same as really like this style here, how it's adjustable. And a lot of people don't know that these traps are adjustable. So I can leave it in one position for a rat or leave it in another position for a mouse, but I always set it for a mouse. and it makes it really sensitive. So if a rat comes around, well, he's a goner. You know, really, you gotta actually put it in a box and not catch bycatches. Like, you don't want to catch birds, and you know, like, I'm not interested in trapping squirrels and that kind of stuff. So your bait will dictate what kind of an animal will go to it. And I've never had any bycatches. I only catch mice and rats. I don't want to catch squirrels and chipmunks and the rest. But yeah, this is an ideal system, and it's as easy as that. So let's take a look and see how these are fully adjustable. Okay, so let's take a look at one of the new traps. And you see that slot on the top here? It goes from here to here. Well, I'm going to show you when it's set, but this is the adjustment spot in here that you can adjust. A lot of people don't realize that, and I'm going to put some highlighter, some white highlighter on the trap. I'm going to demonstrate for you and show you how this is fully adjustable. So when you pull back the trap, you can see this little catch right there. Well, that's the spots that is actually adjustable. So I'll bring over a trap that has a little bit of white paint on it so you can actually see it a lot better. And I'll show you how the trap is actually adjustable. So here we are right here, and you can see that I did highlight it up with some just white marker here. And all I'm going to do really is I'm holding the back of the trap so it can't snap on my fingers. And if I get over here and just pull, now watch that little mechanism, how it slides out. See, it comes down. See how this drops in there just like that? Okay, so when you set the trap, it's fully extended further out. So it travels further along the slot. So now I'm going to show you exactly how you can make this adjustable so it's a lot more sensitive. What you're looking at right there is the trap set in its normal position, and you can see the difference between the depth of here and where the bait would come, right? So how this trap is adjustable is you can push this down. See how far I've gone? Now I take my hand off the trap, and you can see the distance has dropped down, which makes it so much more sensitive because it's almost at the end of its reach where the catch will actually trip. So if you have it set in that position, a mouse can get on here, walk around like a small mouse, and never set the trap off. But if you just push it down like this, and there is a sweet spot where if you go down too far, the trap will just trigger, right? So right there is pretty much the sweet spot. And if we just take a look, swing over here a bit, you can see the catch right on the far right hand side. It's almost off. We just go a little bit further and you can see. So what I'll do is I'll just press it down a little bit more and you'll see when it triggers off. And you can see right there. So yes, this is the adjustability right here, and you just got to find that sweet spot, and that is about as good as you're going to get right there. So if a mouse comes on here or a rat, there you go. Okay, so let's just take a look at the mouse box or the rat box, whatever you like. Very simple design. You have to match it to your traps. Now this particular box, I'll show you the dimensions on the inside, are 3 inches. And I go up to about maybe here with the trap. So I got about a ½ inch of head space on the top when the trap is in the up position. And from here to here is 8 inches, which I want it longer than the trap itself. And then of course I want a longer top with an overhang. And if you take a look in the back there, you can see there's a patio brick, this here. Well, that just goes on top. So, you know, the brick itself is 2 inches thick, 8 inches long, and 4 inches wide. It just sits on top here. And if you notice, at the back here, I've made a little bit higher than in the front, so you'll get a little bit of a slant on water runoff, and it won't stick to the bottom here like you would in the wintertime icing up or whatever. And also, this is just pine, this one here, scrap pine that I had sitting around. I just used my staple gun to staple it together. And the whole idea behind it is that the trap goes in there. There's the trap like this, right? So all you have to do is put the trap over top and then move it forward a bit until it goes right to the end. So I'll put the trap in the position that you would normally see, and then you just bring it over top, push it forward, and now the trap is in the back position right here. And of course, these traps here are the exact same size, and it'll fit in that box as well. Now, you really have to use a box if you're going to be outside, especially in you know, in the winter time, because the trap mechanisms will just freeze right up and they'll never work. So now we take a look at the idea of the overhang. So here is the trap front, and it's kind of hard to see from here, but I will tell you something. Let me just see if I can shine some light on there. There, you can see the trap inside there. Well, if I am standing, say, 8 feet away, I can look in there from a standing position and see the bait is in there and whether or not I've caught a mouse or a rat. So that's a good thing as well, because the front is all opened up and you can see your bait and you can see if you've caught a vermin. So that's pretty much it there, and I'll just show you generally what the easy build of the box is. Nothing fancy. Remember, you're only catching a mouse or a rat, so it doesn't have to be anything fancy, right? So if we just take this out of the way, yeah, that's all it is. And I mean, it's so easy, you know, to just, you have to match up your diameter here to your trap, and 3 inches on the inside works for mine. You'd have to measure yours, and you know, it's not a hard thing to build. I mean, pretty much everybody, I think, could build something like that. Nice, easy project. And I just stained this one because it's not treated. It's just regular pine. So I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a demonstration. And let me know if you live in a part of the world, like, I mean, if you're down in Texas and you're using bear traps on rats, I bet you there's other places in the world that have big rats too. Let me know in the comments below how big your rats are, because the rats up here are about the total length of this particular trap. And if you're in Texas, you can't use this. New York, no, not even a chance. Louisiana, no way. So I put all the information up front. And if you're thinking about, well, how many rats and mice do you catch? Well, I'll tell you something. Very little now. I would say if I catch a rat once every 3 months, I'm lucky. And mice, maybe 1 or 2 every 3-4 weeks. When I first started doing this years and years ago, I got a whole playlist of mice and rat traps and, you know, non-toxic baits and everything else. But, you know, if you don't keep up with it, you'll find out what happens. Because I tell you something, for some reason around me is a lot of, you know, I never seen a rat in my life until maybe 10 years ago, until they started handing out free compost bins to everybody, and people just put these compost bins in their backyards, and it was just like a magnet for all kinds of rats. The mice are not as bad, but rats, I tell you what, they can be, well, if you got rats in your area, they can be quite destructive. And same with mice. If you've got a nice vehicle sitting in your driveway, you wake up one day and it don't start, take a look underneath the hood, they've chewed all your wires right off your engine harness. So, getting one of these and keeping up on it is the main thing. And now where I am, I see very little of mice and rats, and that's the way I like it. So thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and see some interesting things that you might not see somewhere else. Cheers.